What's up, guys? Your boys are back. I'm Ryan, my man George.
What's Shane, guys? How you living out there, man? Shout out to the free thinkers. Shout out to everybody that's been following us on Def the Radio, our Instagram, and DefTheRadio.com, our website. Make sure you guys follow us on both platforms, especially DefTheRadio.com. That's pretty much where we spend most of our time these days, and that's where you can get on our radar as far as requests are concerned. The information for both will be in the description, so make sure y'all check that out.
And as always, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Make sure it's set to all so you get all our videos as they drop. Our Becoming Artists, man, you know what to do. Click the link in the description. We'll do about 60 seconds of your song in front of one of our up-and-coming videos, baby. Get you some exposure. So if you're interested in that, make sure you check that out, man. All right, man, so we getting back to this Nick Grant project, man. Sunday dinner, man, hearing good things about it.
A lot of good things.
Good things. We did that art dealer with Ransom. That was hard. If y'all haven't seen that, check that out.
Shit made me almost want to go listen to the album.
Yeah.
We trying to hold off, you know. We trying to hold off for y'all, man. We try to keep this shit pure, just so y'all know. I want y'all to really understand that, because that was hard.
And if you are not familiar with the songs that we've done on Nick Grant, man, check them out, man. We did Feds. We did Sometimes, 96 Bulls, which was hard as fuck. You know, we did a few freestyles, bars on I-95, LA Leakers, you know, Funk Flex. Yep. So, man, check out Nick Grant, man, you know, because we got exposed to him early, and we were just very, very impressed by him, man, because he just has not only the bars, but, man, he's just like a student of the game, man. He has a lot of old references and shit, you know. So he's just dope, man. So really check him out, man.
All right, let's get into it, man. Nick Grant, Worryin Bout a classic.
Yeah, it ain't no windows in my projects. Just dreaded shooters hitting scores like they Wyclef. Poor communication was a cancer to my progress. We only felt we measured up when mixing out the Pyrex. My ego misunderstood, so niggas overlook me. It's funny how the underbelly showed you who was pussy. Some find a gift behind prison walls, think what you could be. Holding that tray piece out the car like I'm Cuba Gooding. Behind the 8-ball, my granny's house piece is so deep as the voice of Nate Dogg. She asked, was I just hanging with killers to resonate more? I told her no, it's love, but I feel I'm at risk like Ray Charles. Hey dog, I rock my brother's hand-me-downs, now I help him up ladders. Pour a royal, putting for you on TV antennas. Before my karma and my black trauma was manufactured, they said my mama was freebasing, she's hitting the batter. I had to learn the hard way, the street shit ain't for beginners. Where shooters hit like Kobe, they gon' staple your center. Food stamps was dollar bills, we had to fend for our own. As these crackers judges, my skin color would set the tone, yeah. It's like these niggas play a game called Who Gon' Die the Fastest. My nigga keep a 9, he rock it like his latest fashion. And they don't get no fuck, these niggas even rob the pastor. I'm trying to get my people right, you worrying about a class.
Okay, alright. Yeah, it sounds good, dude.
Yeah.
Man, y'all better stop playing with Nick Grant. Man, he crushed that verse.
Yeah,
and
man.
the beat is hot.
And the little singing in the background and the musicianship.
And
you know?
the chorus.
Yeah, I like it, man. I think this is a masterpiece at this
Dude,
point. I mean,
this
I know I might be jumping out the window because we just heard one verse, but I'm like, dude, this is like some masterpiece type shit, the way he's got this shit crafted. And he's rapping his ass off.
Rapping his ass off. Shout out to Nick Grant.
Ain't no windows in my projects. Just dreaded shooters hitting scores like they Wyclef. Poor communication was a cancer to my progress. We only felt we measured up when we're mixing out the Pyrex. That right there, man, that imagery there of just kind of talking about being an inner city kid, growing up in the projects, ducking shootings, you know what I mean? Because no windows, you don't sit by the window, especially when you hear gunshots, you don't go by the windows, right? So he's like, ain't no windows in my projects because, you know, you ducking and dodging bullets. Also a Wyclef correlation there, you know, the rapper Wyclef was with the Fugees, hitting scores, you know, that's
Dreads.
Right, you know, Dreads, hitting scores. I think that was a Fugees album, you know, so... but I love when he said poor communication was the cancer to my progress, because George and I, we have this conversation all the time off camera, but we don't talk. We don't go see people. We don't get help. So the only thing that we know to cope in dysfunction where you got gunshots coming through windows and shit like that is, get you a bag, mix up some drugs, so that way you could feel like you're measuring up to progression and success in the world.
But then he said it's funny how the underbelly showed you who was pussy as well. In the term underbelly, that's in the belly of the beast. You know what I'm saying? In the hood, right? In the trenches, right? It's funny how that shows you who's pussy. When you're in the trenches, man, and real shit is happening, like Ryan talked about, gunshots is going off and this and that, you find out really quickly who's with the shit and who's not with the shit. It shows you who's real and who's pussy and who's brave and who's not. But also, under the belly, there's some good pussy under there.
That's shout out to Chris Rock, right? Some good pussy under this belly.
Yeah, anyway, but obviously under your stomach, there's a reference to a woman, a vagina being under a woman's belly is what he said as well. And going up to that only measured up line that Ryan touched as well, I mean, the Pyrex is a measuring cup. So when he says measured up, it's the Pyrex cup that he's referencing in that line as well. So we only measured up literally by putting drugs in a pot and baking soda and measuring it. But, in addition to what Ryan said, that was a hard line. I loved how his grandma was like trying to, psychoanalyze him here. You know what I mean? She asked if I was hanging with killers to resonate more. I think that's such a wise, obviously, and I guarantee you she didn't ask him like that, by the way. You know what I'm saying? His grandmother asked him if he hangs with killers to resonate more. He said, no, it's all love, but, I know I'm at risk. Like Ray Charles. Ray Charles, obviously, he touches the wrist, right? To see how attractive a woman is or however that shit went, right? But he knows that he's at risk. But, he loves these guys he grew up with. But he also understands what they're into and that he could be, not guilty by association, but he could be in danger just being around those guys, right? But his grandmother asking him that question is like, that's not you. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know who you are. Why are you even hanging with these guys is why she asked that question. But I felt that line because my grandmother has said similar things to me, and even just in a lot of black households coming from the hood, man, you know the people who are the knuckleheads and your family's like, yo, who is that? Who you hanging around? So it just brought me back to that, right? Just your family being a little bit like, oh, come on, man, you know who the dudes that have no hope are. I don't know, what are you even doing? You know what I'm saying? Hanging around them dudes. He said, I rock my brother's hand-me-downs, now I help him up ladders. I rock my brother's hand-me-downs, which are clothes that your older sibling is too big for, or whatever the case, doesn't wear anymore, and they hand them down to you. But now I help him up ladders. Now I'm helping him ascend in life, right? So I thought that was dope. Poor but royal, putting foil on TV antennas. Before my karma and my black trauma was manufactured, they said my mama was freebasing. She's hitting the batter. So he's referencing being poor, putting foil on TV antennas so you can get the signal, right? You know what I'm saying? So the picture that he's painting there, hand-me-downs from his brother, his mama freebasing, she's hitting the batter. That's a baseball sort of like, you know what I'm saying, a little bar there, like base, you run bases in baseball, right? You have a bat, but she's freebasing, as in she's doing crack cocaine. That's what freebasing is called. She's hitting the batter. And this was before my karma and my black trauma was manufactured. So it's interesting that he's talking about, he said poor but royal. We were poor, but we were royal at the same time. Like we still had dignity, we still had pride, we still had love, right? And this is before the black trauma came into the equation and completely manufactured and changed maybe took my innocence away, right? So he's just taking you back to that time. The picture he painted in that and the references he used, I just thought was brilliant.
He said, I had to learn the hard way that these streets ain't for beginners. When shooters hit like Kobe, they gonna staple your center. That was hard, right? Because Kobe, we know Kobe was the Mamba. He was, Black Mamba, lethal assassin and shit. And he's all, they gonna staple your center. Obviously, he played in Staples Center, so that's a play on the actual facility, the arena. But also, if you get shot, you're gonna need surgery, right? Staple your center. If you get shot center mass, you know what I mean? That could be where he was saying there too. Yeah, so I love that line, man. You can see that in a couple of different ways, man. I like that a lot.
He's barred up, man. And I always say the mark of like a great writer is in the details. And what separates the dudes who are really talking some authentic shit from the people who have watched other rappers and they're sort of mimicking them, it's the details. So when he says lines like food stamps was dollar bills, we had to fend for our own. What does he mean by that, right? What he means by that is people would sell their food stamps, which is government assistance, right, to help you buy food. They would sell those food stamps in exchange for money. You know what I'm saying? So when he says food stamps was dollar bills, we had to fend for our own. We had to figure out, we had to get it how we live. We had to figure out how to hustle to pay our bills. So you're not supposed to sell your food stamps.
But you got to pay a light bill. You know what I'm saying? You know,
hey,
I got some food stamps.
I got some food stamps, and then people need food, so they're like, yeah, let me get that. And you would sell it at a discount, right? You would sell the shit. Okay, if it's $100 worth of food stamps, I'm gonna sell them for. I'm gonna give you. You give me $50. You know what I'm saying? At least I got the $50 for my light bill. So shit like that. If you wasn't from it, you just don't. You're not gonna get those lines. So you gotta have to be from it to understand who's to separate the imposters from the dudes that really live some shit. You know what I mean? Lines like that really give you that nuance. Anyways, the chorus is dope too. It's like these dudes play a game, who gonna die the fastest? That's true. It feels like that sometimes, right? I'm trying to get my people right. You worried about a classic.
Yep.
Ironically, it sounds like this could be a classic if he keeps this momentum up with this and Art Dealer. But I'm not worried about. To me, that's superficial. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm worried about my music is for the soul. My music is for trying to heal the community I come from. I don't give a fuck about some corny critics online saying if my album's a classic or not. I'm not worried about that. You know what I'm saying? But ironically, you know what I'm saying? That might lead to you creating the best possible art that many people will feel is a classic. Dope chorus, dope. I love the singing, the vocals in this. Outside of Nick Grant, the singing.
Me too.
I love the bass in this. The drums in this. He's rapping his ass off.
What else can you ask for?
Can't ask for nothing else. Let's keep it going.
It's like these niggas play a game called Who Gon' Die the Fastest. My nigga keep a 9, he rock it like his latest fashion. And they don't get no fuck, these niggas even rob the pastor. I'm trying to get my people right, you worrying about a classic.
Like that. I like that.
Yeah, I watched my cousin die at school like this shit for real.
Damn.
Was close to him, so it left me with a distant chill. Remember watching Sister Act to get me out my feels. 20 years later, I'm on tour with Lauryn Hill, the Silver Lining. You turn your back and you don't scrap, then use a hoe for real. I gotta get up out of here, this shit too slow for real. My granny praying, so I walk around with Jehovah's shield. From where the drive-bys make you relearn your motor skills. Parents fighting, waking me up out my sleep. These police sirens, still haunted by PTSD. Was the underdog, my auntie pray mama aborted me. We dying every day, the lesson in that, don't trust the weak. They never taught us nothing but how to cut class and cut a key. Wish I had $1 for every rat that I knew would squeak. Left him on his chest, gave new meaning to hugging the street. Caught a stray in broad day, cause all these dogs off the leash. Preach. It's like these niggas play a game called Who Gon' Die the Fastest. My nigga keep a 9, he rock it like his latest fashion. And they don't get no fuck, these niggas even rob the pastor. I'm trying to get my people right, you worrying about a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was telling her, I was like, yeah, maybe we should let it rock out. But
He's like, nah.
When we do that sometimes, man, I want y'all to understand something, man. We let a song play too long, and then we'll conclude the video and we're like, damn, we ain't go back and hit that line. I wish we would have hit that. We forgot to go back to that line. So sometimes I'm like, yeah, nah, fuck all that. Let's we digest that second verse. Let's get into it.
I love this verse, man, because it really shows the introspective side. Talk about how his cousin died at school. He didn't think that shit was for real. He said he even watched Sister Act, to get out of his feels, to kind of get over the situation. Yeah. 20 years later, I'm on tour with Lauryn Hill, The Silver Lining. Beautiful. That's a beautiful way to paint that story. I'm assuming you guys seen the movie Sister Act, that Whoopi Goldberg kind of impersonated a nun to get away from like this mob boss, and then she actually started to create good friends and stuff like that, and it actually was an uplifting, positive movie, And Sister Act 2, Lauryn Hill was in that.
That's right.
And so
crushed it, by the way.
Right, which she did crush it. And then years later, 20 years later, he said he was on tour with her. So I can only imagine what that story and that conversation felt like to him when he got to meet her and shit like that. Like, dude, that movie got me through a rough time in my life. You know what I'm saying? When he says the silver lining, that's kind of the silver lining in that.
Right.
That brought him through a bad situation. And that whole premise of the Sister Act movie was Whoopi Goldberg was in a bad situation. Lauryn Hill was in a bad situation, abusive situation, and in her household and shit like that. And it kind of the silver lining all came together. We all helped each other. It's kind of how I'm defining that line. Yeah. I think that's beautiful.
And Nick Grant, he can still punch you to death while still giving you introspection as well. My granny praying, so I walk around with Jehovah's shield. From where the drive-bys make you relearn your motor skills. He's punching. So there's a play on words there, right? He's saying drive-bys, and he's referencing a car driving by because a car has a motor in it. But he's talking about a drive-by, which is a violent act where someone drives by with guns in the car and shoots you while they're driving by. So if you get shot in a drive-by, chances are, oftentimes you're a vegetable, you die, you end up having to relearn your motor skills, you end up in a hospital.
Yep.
But there's a motor in a car, so there's a play on words there.
Yep.
But he's punching you.
It's hard.
While he's still talking about where he's from and what's going on in his life. And a lot of people don't do both. A lot of people either they can tell you about these things, but it's missing some sort of wit in it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a little bit too straightforward, too basic. But also people can punch too much. They focus too much on the punchline and they're not getting to any real point. So he's kind of doing both here. They never taught us nothing but how to cut class and cut a key. That's all we knew. We knew how to cut class. You know what I'm saying? Very well. We got A+ in that. And we knew how to cut keys, you know what I'm saying? So
break that drugs down.
Keys are drugs, right? A kilo of cocaine. We knew how to do that. But then he ended it also by saying, left him on his chest, gave a new meaning to hug in the street. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, when you hug someone, man, you're hugging them with your chest. But you left him on his chest, right? That's a new meaning to hug in the street. When people say hug in the street, hugging the block, they mean they outside, selling drugs, holding it down on the block. But you're hugging the street physically when you get shot. So it gives you a new meaning. Like, yeah, you hugging a block to the point where it led to your demise.
Still haunted by PSD. He's all, I was the underdog. My auntie prayed mama to abort me. We dying every day. The lesson in that is don't trust the weak. He's talking about all the trauma that he grew up with, and it still haunts him to this day, PSD's. It's like, dude, before I was even born, I was the underdog. Because my aunt, my mom's sister was like, you don't need no baby. You don't need this baby. I'm guessing.
How did you find that out?
I wasn't there, but
who snitched on the aunt?
Yeah, the mama. Because the mama was like, boy, I didn't even, your aunt didn't even want you. You know that. Your aunt didn't even want you. I was the only motherfucker that wanted you. Daddy didn't want you. Your aunt didn't want you. Nobody wanted you. I was the only motherfucker that wanted you. So you better listen. That's what my mama would have said anyway.
This is terrible. WEAK, right?
Yeah.
Weak-minded, and also he said we're dying every day. Don't trust the weak. I think that's a double entendre.
Yeah.
For 7 days or in a week, WEEK. But don't trust the weak-minded, the people who can't push through, who just take the easy way out. Oh, just get an abortion, like Ryan was just saying. So, but that double entendre was nasty to go along with it, right?
Yep.
Don't trust the weak. We dying every day. Don't trust the weak. Every day is a struggle, right? It's hard to make it through the week, right?
That's true.
So be on your toes. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was hard. Caught astray in broad daylight because all these dogs is off the leash. That was hard. When he says caught astray in broad daylight, he's talking about someone catching a stray bullet in broad daylight. But he said because all these dogs off the leash, and he's talking about stray dogs. So it's obviously a metaphor there. All these dogs off the leash, what he's saying there is just that people are out of control.
Yep.
These dudes are in the streets running wild, going crazy, shooting in heavily populated areas, and people are catching stray bullets. They're crazy. They're off the leash, right? They got their loose screws.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, but dogs as in people. You know what I'm saying? So that was dope. All right, cool. Let's keep it going.
I'm trying to get my people right. You worrying about a classic.
Right?
Yeah, I know the kid with no father. His father was a victim of a manslaughter. His mama keep bringing niggas around. He starts to learn from these niggas. He looks at them like a father. Sooner or later they're gone. Young man, you gotta stay guarded. The world is heartless. These are more than just rap lines. Life is a broken clock. I can't get back time. My niggas selling wet, yet never been baptized. No loyalty, they switching sides like it's halftime. The Reaper's outside, so stay in this bitch. They check the toe tag, rather die than to be labeled a bitch. Ain't got no white neighbors, still I'm on the waviest shit. Riding around with a banger like a radio hit. Wait for the click.
Man,
Lose control. Sunday dinner.
Man, he straight up barred our life away on the walk-off, though. You know what I mean? The game was already over, basically. He had the bridge that came in and just barred our life, every fucking line, every bar. This is a complete song, in my opinion, man. This is super dope. We're going to break some of them lines down, but this felt like such a complete song. It had a fucking break. First of all, he had 3 verses, which we don't get often anymore. Usually it's 1 or 2 verses, and then it'll have some other shit in the song, you know what I mean? Like, that has nothing to do with actually rapping. Nothing wrong with that. But this is a throwback in so many different ways. The soul of this, the way that this was crafted, it felt almost like he used live instrumentation.
Yeah.
3 full verses. He had a bridge in there. The chorus was well crafted. The chorus made sense and connected to the actual verses as well, right? It just wasn't just thrown in there as a repetitive, generic thing that you just did to check a box off. Complete song, and this is to start the album. This is what, the first song on the album?
Yeah, man.
He kicked the album off with this? Come on, man. Come on, man. Excellent, excellent joint, man. We're going to break these lines down, but I'm very impressed with this. Shout out to Nick Grant.
This third verse, man, again, when the beat changed, George and I was kind of saying, like, what this fucking music soul child? He was like, Bilal and shit. Like, it almost had like a neo soul type of vibe. So I thought it was going to be more of a subdued, like, ending the track.
Yeah.
But, man, he went into even more depth, man, knowing a kid without a father, and, because his dad died of manslaughter, and then his mom's bringing other dudes around. I don't know if this is him or just a story he's telling, and, obviously if you're bringing another adult around, the child's going to kind of look up to that
impressionable
person as a mentor, as a father figure, but sooner or later they're gone. And so now, it starts to repeat that cycle of maybe, frustration, maybe some insecurity, what's wrong with me, who knows what a child
miseducation.
Yeah,
what did you learn from these randoms
Yep.
that you brought around your kid?
What he learned from that is a young man got to stay guarded. The world is heartless. These are more than just rap lines. My life is a broken clock. I can't get back time. The way that was written, man, was beautiful, because the way I'm interpreting that is, obviously it's a time clock. It's a play on time clock when he says my life is a broken clock. But what I'm taking that is the damage is done. You know what I'm saying? I can't go back and fix it. But what I can do is try to like move forward throughout all the trauma, because it was just, this is my life. I'm just rapping about things that was in my own experience. And I just had to kind of persevere through the shit, but you can kind of move forward. So I love the way he kind of brought that together.
My dude's selling wet, and they never been baptized. When you get baptized, you're in the water, right? They selling wet though, but they ain't never been baptized. He's talking about a different type of wet. Selling drugs is basically what Nick is saying. No loyalty. They switching sides like it's halftime. That was crazy. At halftime, the teams switch sides of the field or switch sides of the court, so they go to the opposite side. They're playing to the opposite side, right? But there's no loyalty. These guys are switching sides, in the streets or whatever the case may be. Like, it's halftime. It's every man for himself. Whatever is selfish. Whatever can do. If I have to rob, cheat, steal, kill to get myself to the next level or to get out of this situation, I'm going to do it, and I don't care who I'm disloyal to in the process. So that was a hard line.
Reaper's outside, so stay in your home, bitch. They checking toe tags. They rather die than be labeled a bitch. Toe tag, label, you got that, when you die, they put a toe tag on you, but that's your label, right? That shit is crazy, man.
Ain't got no white neighbors, still I'm the waviest. So, obviously, it's a play on having white neighbors, and they're very polite, and they wave to you. Waviest. But he's saying waviest as in slang. I'm the flyest. I'm the coolest. That's waviest. You know what I'm saying? If the rest of the album, we've heard Worrying About a Classic and Art Dealer now, and he rapped his ass off. Him and Ransom on Art Dealer, and Nick went crazy on this one as well. And you guys have been saying that this album is special, and y'all, listen, man, give us more from this album.
Yeah, buddy.
Seriously, man.
Soon,
very soon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it sounded like it could be something special. So definitely with the doctor order, because I've been hearing a lot. Okay. We'll save it. We'll save it for the little hybrid podcast thing we might be doing. You know what I'm saying? We'll save it. Big shout out to Nick Grant and everybody associated with this project. The production was stellar as well. Amara, Bernardi, and who else it says is on the production, and Lucas Quinn. Shout out to everybody responsible for this track. Great body of work here, man. That's the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And also make sure y'all check out Def to Radio. Get those requests on Def to Radio so we can kind of know what you guys want us to do as far as reactions are concerned. I'm George. That's Ryan. Lost to Vegas.
We out.